Johnny Fontana, Half Amazing TV, back with another video. Today we're gonna do a tutorial on the art of tempo mixing, right?
Right.
I mean, but that's real MCing.
Yeah.
That's real shit. That live shit, it's like singers. That's what separates the men from the boys is the live performance. I don't give a fuck. Like, it's just like with comedy, it's like you got a lot of comics, and I don't care what your dreams are. But are you in comedy because that's the popular thing now? Or are you doing it because you love it because it's the hardest way to make money?
Right.
Real talk.
Right. Now, see how excited you just got about hip hop?
Yes.
Before we get into that, watch this clip in terms of what I've been noticing, right? In terms of DJs just picking music, and I realize this, right?
It's like it's just there's just certain things that just don't it might be the same BPM, but when you're trying to tell a story, you want like-minded, you want a smooth transition from point A to point Z.
That a lot of DJs are picking music and then just matching it. They're not really matching tempos, and if they do, they're not matching the atmosphere or the dynamic of the song, right? So let's say you have a classic song and you go, like I said before in my other video, let's say you have a classic song and it really touches people, and you go from that track to another track that's similar, maybe similar in tempo, but it doesn't capture the audience as much as this ultra classic track, right? It does a disservice to the actual mix and to the dynamic, right? So what you want to do is you want to be able to take a track, even though it may have the same tempo, you want to be able to also match the quality of that track. So if you go from a classic disco track, you want to go with at least a semi-disco track to sort of start tapering off. Same thing with tempo. What happens is that you have a lot of people watching videos, they're watching DJ Mag, they're watching producers DJ, producers who are DJing, not producers who are DJs. Producers who are DJing, we gotta be fair, right? They're DJing, they're not DJs, they are DJing. See how we can actually circumvent that loop?
What do you say?
It's different forms of comedy, and I think that if you look at it at that, then it's like you won't really compare anybody, because it's like with the Instagram comments and stuff like that, with the sketches, that's a whole different art form than stand-up.
Yeah, but they want to consider themselves, they think it's the same thing. They're like, oh, I can do stand-up. And when they get on that stage and they go, oh, fuck.
Because if they just said, oh, I do comedy and not I do stand-up comedy, then no one would really have an issue with it. And then like they get booked on these shows.
Oh,
and
they
then
book
people
themselves.
go to the
Yeah.
shows and they're thinking, oh, this is stand-up, like this is whack. And then, you know what I'm saying, and it messes up for other live comedians.
And it's sad because a lot of these clubs will take them on because they're going to get that
They got
payoff.
the numbers.
Yeah.
And I get that as a business, but it's going to fade because the Insta is so quick. The popularity is so quick. But man, this is what's so beautiful about comedy. The art, it takes a long time to get it right.
perfect, yeah.
And all that fame shit, because the year goes by fast. They're gonna book you again. Hey man, you gotta come back. And your whack shit's gonna come and they're gonna be like, yo, what the fuck? And then what's scary is they call themselves headliners, but then you got some veteran comics that are gonna do 20, 30 minutes before you and rock. And they're gonna give you a hot 25 and go follow that motherfucker.
Right.
And there's some angry comics out there that are waiting to be on a show with an Instagram. They go, I'm going to ruin his career.
Right.
I'm gonna give them a hot, my boy does that. He said, I'm gonna give him a hot 30.
Right.
I'm gonna give him a hot 30. I'm gonna let that mic smoke and let this
Right.
fuckers try to do it. And that's
Right.
why a lot of Instagram
I
comics.
kick a hole in the speaker, pull the plug, and I
You know what
jet.
I mean? I'll be like, your
Right.
turn,
Right.
headliner.
But I still think that, I mean, I don't know.
And the loophole there, right? So they're DJing, but they're not DJs, they're producers. So what they're doing is that they're mixing music and they're playing this tempo, that tempo, this tempo, right? So listen to this first.
Like, you know, and it's like, and you even have some of these dudes talking about DJing is played out, and they just play records. They just kind of like, you know, they just push buttons and just you know, it's just like, no, that ain't what it's about. It's about, you know, creativity and being technical and thinking about what you're doing and stuff like that. And that's also, you know, like, you know, we're gonna have fun tonight and we're just gonna bug out, but like, you know, certain things, it's like, you know, you put together sets and you plan it out. I've always told people a set is like a book and it tells a story. And whether it's a planned set or whether it's like, just us for 2 hours on Rappers Out of Control, you can't play certain records next to each other. DJ Scratch said this best the other day, where he was like, you're not supposed to play Usher into like Rakim. You know what I'm saying? It's like, there's just certain things that just it might be the same BPM, but when you're trying to tell a story, you want you want a smooth transition from point A to point Z. And so you want to play like-minded artists that have a similar sound, and then you kind of start slowly bridging it into maybe something more harder or something softer, and you tell a story, and you take the person on a journey where it sounds great. But when you start doing that, like throwing stuff in here and there, and it has no type of flow to it, that's the difference between what we do and what they do.
Do you find that there's a lot of DJs today that don't know how to create that story?
Sure, of course. I mean, a lot of that though has to do with not having the right teachers. You know what I'm saying?
The right music. Because the music today that's coming out.
That too. It's just so spread out now with the internet that it's not as concentrated where it was then. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? When Kane put a record out, everyone in the world knew it, and that was what everyone played. Nowadays, it's just like there's so many options for your attention. It's not even just music as entertainment.
It's everything.
Everything's out there.
There's no longevity in these tracks that come out today, even the mainstream ones.
Okay, so now you have an idea, right, of what I'm talking about. So what we're going to do is that we're going to go ahead and mix 2 tracks, Move On by Alex Kenji and We Got the Power by Claptone. Move On is 2019. Claptone is a couple years old, but still, they're still recent, they're still relevant, okay, in terms of sound. Watch how I go from Move On to We Got the Power. Now, this is a mix that I had already done for one of my new, I wouldn't say client yet, but we started working together, right? He's an actual pro bodybuilder, and he's moving to Miami. He's from the Tampa St. Pete area, and here he is right here. Call him YB. And we've been working together. So I sent him a song. I was like, hey, Move On, right? Just choose a track that goes along with it. And he was able to actually pick We Got the Power. And when I put them together, I was like, wow, like you really had it. However, though, they have different tempos, different dynamics. I'm playing Move On first because We Got the Power has a faster tempo, right? So we're going to go from Move On to We Got the Power. However, it's a nice taper. It's not going from like a mild to a high tempo. It's going and it's tapering off. Okay, so watch how I play it and understand also how I phrase it as well. Let me do an authenticity check. Okay, that's my authenticity check for all the people who want to secretly hate. Okay, so now I'm gonna set this track up. You can tell on the screen I'm actually using my CDJs. See the tempo changing? Okay, authenticity check. Alright, so I'm going to move it along. And I'm going to loop this one. See how I use the EQ with the effects See how the tempo moved a little bit up? But how it progresses nice. Just keep it. I can bring this back up again. See, I'm bringing this back up a little bit. Just the bass. Now I'm going to bring it back down again. So there you have it. See how I was able to now move it, keep the song going, and now from that point now I'm going to now progress it a little bit more with another track that I already have in my mind that I haven't set up. You see what I'm saying to you? That's why you always got to keep the tracks in your mind. You have to know, okay, what I'm playing next, and you want to keep that gradual. Now, it may be a case now where you have to increase the tempo, right? Because let's say like you were playing that track and like the crowd is ready now. You can just simply take that during the breakdown, filter it out, and then start off another track and basically bring that up so you can like amp the crowd. I mean, there are different things that you can do depending on the situation, But if you're just chugging along, this is a great way to just sort of like build that tempo by properly tempo mixing, right? So make sure you are aware and you pair in the track, because so many DJs out there and that I watch, and even when I go to the clubs, they're just pairing music, putting music. You go from like this to now all of a sudden here, and then like this, and then a different track and a different song. It's like, and it's an art to it, and not everyone has the ability. Like, let's call it what it is. It's like, it's an art, and that's what I want to get back to. I want to get back to understanding like, like, this is hard. Like, this is not easy. To do it the right way, it requires a lot of patience and understanding and really researching the dynamics of music and understanding how they interplay with the dynamics of a crowd, right? That's the difficulty of DJing, right? But now you have a lot of folks who just simply say, oh, it is what it is. Oh, no, that's your opinion. That's my opinion. Like, check out this.
So, that led to the abolition of truth.
Right.
So this is your truth and my truth. There's facts and alternative facts.
Right.
This is your opinion. That the Battle of Hastings happened in 1066, it's your opinion. I say, what do you mean opinion? Happened in 1066. Well, maybe. Could be.
Yeah.
Could be. Yeah. Let me look it up, Wikipedia. And in Wikipedia, I see it was 1066. I might agree with you. Problem with Wikipedia, of course, that any 17-year-old can change the date to 1966.
Yeah.
So it's a very fluid, shall we say gently, medium. And so there is a truthism. There is a situation where there's no truth. And finally, they do not provide ranking algorithms or rankings so that you know what is best, what is not, because today everything is equal, malignant egalitarianism.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, who are you to tell me that this book, I read the second book, is much better than the first book. But excuse me, I'm the cardiologist. So, second book is better than the first. Let's vote. Let's vote. So
You see what I'm saying to you? So you have a lot of that now, because it's like it's easier to say, "Oh, it's your opinion. Hey, I'll do it my way. This is the new generation, or whatever." I'm not blaming the new generation, but what I'm saying to you is that we got to be careful, right? Because there's a right way to do it, and when it's the right way to do it, you can expand on that while also utilizing, a certain level of of talent and creativity, right? So anyway, that was that tutorial. Be back again with another one. Johnny Fontana, Half Amazing TV. We out.